Hello world! WayofTime here bringing to you another episode of Blood Magic Developer Commentaries. So, I had a nice vacation at like the first week of August. Obviously you don't care too much about that, but obviously I couldn't do much work on the mod. While I was doing that, I do have a bunch of augmentations that have been worked on. They're not really complete, so to speak, because I decided to work on something a little more fun, so to speak. Oh, one thing to note, that the nice Demon Will Aura Gauge has a proper texture. I think this had a proper texture, but the texture was updated to give a lot more resolution for the actual texture part. Let's get some nom-noms so that I don't go dead, because oh boy, this is going to be a lot of combat. So, as you can see, we have some nice aura, and it is very easy to tell what's full, what's not. See that we have 64. See that that's actually steadfast and not just some sort of light purple blob. And then see that we try to shoot that, and we need actual will in order to use that. So what I'm going to talk about today is entity, yes, blah, entity AI. First, I'm going to set it today because that's helpful, and nugget for your thoughts. Obviously not, because weren't there two nuggets here? That is very weird. Anyways, there's entity AI as well as some other thing that I want to explore, which is probably equally fun, but let's get into the entity AI first, since I'm actually prepared for that. So, as you probably know, Blood Magic, well, I hope you know if you're watching these developer commentaries, because I have touched on it a bit, and it has been a main point of contention in the mod. Blood Magic has become a very combat-focused mod. You can see that there's all these weapons, items that make you stronger, and currently you don't really get much chance to use them. Let's get a Tartaric Gem. I mean, you don't get much chance to use them at all, other than, you know, normal mobs, but normal mobs, it's not very fun, because you can just two-shot most mobs, and it just becomes like very easy. Ooh, slimes, lots of will, blah blah blah. And obviously, fighting a bunch of slimes, it's not going to be much difficulty for any sort of person. I mean, on normal difficulties without a bunch of mods that really make it difficult. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So, not having things to fight has always been one of those things in Blood Magic. I mean, there has been demons in previous versions of the mod, and elementals. Frankly, elementals were kind of unfair. The AI of elementals were basically flying gas that tried to bump into you, had reciprocation, so if you swung at them with a strong enough sword, you're dead. Now, reciprocation by itself is a fun mechanic, however, obviously it's only good for bosses, and, you know, I guess it'd be a good idea if I actually gathered my thoughts, but this is the developer commentary. It's not professional in any stretch of the imagination, so I guess I'll go on with it. The point is that Blood Magic, in the end, needs stronger monsters for the player to fight. That's basically what needs to happen. Now, there are a few things that I'm planning on adding. Demon Inversion is basically going to be the next step of Demon Will Aura. As you can see right here, we have some will in the air, in the aura. We can tell with our Demon Will Aura Gauge that we have 100 Vengeful Will in the aura. And if you know, the stuff that is inside of the aura is the ethereal manifestation of Demon Will. Inside the gem, it's some sort of energy. I can't remember the exact lore on that, but it's some sort of energy state. The aura is basically the purified ethereal form. Let's make things a little more peaceful. And the crystal clusters, if we get the cluster, these are the physical form of will. Physical, purified, crystallized form of demon will. And let's get a vengeful will cluster, see if that grows in the time that we do all this shenanigans. So, this is the physical manifestation. Aura is the ethereal manifestation. However, in my lore, what will happen is if you were to inject the will from the aura into the physical realm, so instead of crystallizing it, injecting it directly into the stone, you'd have something called demon inversion. Basically, you're inverting the normal world in order to attempt to make it into the ethereal world. Sorry, in order to make it more demonic. Now this would cause some interesting things. So by injecting will into the ground and air and in entities around, you get some interesting effects such as making some more interesting stone. So you'd infuse stone, there might be uses for that. Infusing ores in order to perhaps get uses from those. This is all wishy-washy right now. And then injecting it into mobs who happen to be in this area of effect in order to make them not the most nicest neighbors in the world. That's all I can say. Let's see. Am I even in the junk? Yes, I am. Just want to check something. Okay, so obviously these require 100 will in order to grow, so I think I'll get a vengeful thing here just for fun. See if that does anything. Anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked because I tend to get sidetracked. So eventually that's going to be the way in order to progress through to the next tiers of the mod. You'd have to purposefully inject the world with demon will. So you'd have to fight monsters that are a lot stronger because of the demon will. They might drop some more interesting things. You'll have to infuse the world with demon will instead of just the air, so you'd have actual physical consequences for the magic that you're doing. It's going to be semi-controllable in the sense that you have to initiate the thing. However, you might not like the end results at the end of it. So that brings us to Entity AI. So in the past, the previous demons, there were basically two sets of AI. One, glorified zombies that would just run at you and try to smack you with their fists, or actually glorified archers. I should not forget that part because they actually had range attacks. Where am I getting the will from this? Ah, yes, duh. 22.77. Okay, that's not actually consuming will. Thought it consumed will. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, so there is that. They were kind of semi-archers, not the best archers in the world, but they were archers. And then when you tamed the regular demons, they were basically glorified wolf AI, which basically acted exactly like a wolf, would shoot things at range, or just body bump into things until they were dead. Let's just say there's a bit of a fire in my stone right now. Anyway, so that brings us to AI, obviously. We're going to want to make mobs that are actually dangerous. So this requires them to have different AI techniques, tricks, and ways that you're going to wish that I wasn't so evil. Some of the ideas I've had are easy, some of them that are kind of difficult, some of them are boss AI-ish, but let's mainly talk about the equivalent of our wolf AI, i.e. tameable mobs, for the time being. So time set day so that we don't have to worry about that. So, in Blood Magic currently, or rather in previous versions, you summon demons in order to tame. However, we don't really have the infrastructure for that right now since you're trying to infuse demon will into the ground in order to get the actual demons. So what you can do instead is infuse your tools with enough will in order to subject your own will onto them, making them do your own bidding. I'm talking about animating demon will, sentient will, sentient tools, yes. Always good when I actually get it correct. So, right now, I drop this, nothing happens. Like, literally nothing happens. That's because I don't have enough will in order to jumpstart this process. Let's get a greater gem, and I think regular would be good. However, if I have greater than 124 will, and I press Q to drop my weapon, you can see a sentient specter spawns, holding the sword, and basically it's going to be doing my bidding from now on. So depending on how much will you have when you drop the tool, it's going to have a different power level. Obviously, since I have a lot of will, it's going to be pretty strong. So if I make it not peaceful. Wait, what? Oh, there you are. Huh. How come I didn't see you? Anyways, if it's not peaceful, and I attack something like a zombie pigman, and if it actually catches up, it's going to attack it, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, I need to improve its speed so it can actually catch up to zombie pigmen, because this is kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's a sentient sword. It's not like it's putting on pounds. Have you been putting on weight? Your hilt is looking a lot bigger than it's supposed to. Oh my gosh. He's been getting into the Cheetos again, I knew it. Too much beef in your diet, I'd say. Anyways, these are basically tools that would do attacking for you, defending you if you were to get attacked. So if we were to get attacked by some sort of hostile skeleton, then again, it's not night, so this... Let's do that. And if we get a torch, so that our... yeah, so that our viewers don't complain. There we go. If we were to spawn a skeleton that's attacking us, it'll then attack and defend us. And it didn't get damaged, so that is good. And if we were to do this more, it's attacking me, it hit me. Now the skeleton's running away from the sword, and frankly I would run away too. Thankfully I'm able to defend myself as well, so we're basically two sword bros right now. And it hasn't gotten damaged yet, so I'm just going to do that. Now, if a sentient sword gets damaged, you have two possibilities. One is if you bring it to an area with a high enough demon will of its type. So if we were to get our gem and throw this in, it's going to heal from the aura. Can you not attack me when I'm trying to explain this highly technical situation? Man, you are best sword. Sentient sword, best sword. Sentient specter, best specter. Anyways, so you can either do that, or if you're tired of its service, you can shift right-click with an empty hand to return it to you. Good as new. Or rather, good as you wanted. I have that gem on my person, so that's why it summoned a Vengeful Sword. So let's do that again. There we go. And I am lagging up Storm for no reason whatsoever. Die, slime! So as you can see, these can be pretty useful in the fact that they are nice, damaging things. Oh, by the way, one thing I should note before I start, 3667. 3567. So this is going to cost a good amount of will in order to summon. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, I mean, it's kind of a pittance of aura that it takes in order to heal. It takes about 2 will per HP in order to heal. Those numbers are probably going to balance, but the reason I have them set like that is so that when you fight these in ways that aren't beneficial to you. So, like if you were to find dungeons or something that happen to have these bad boys, you're going to probably want to run away. So 100 will in order to summon these. Eventually I'm going to have it so that if you right-click it normally, it's going to just stay put and do its own thing. But anyways, you can also make a bow that has skeleton AI. That'll just fire at things until they go away, which is frankly helpful. Same thing applies for these things as well. They do, well, they're linked to you, and they heal when in the aura. Now another interesting thing about this AI is that if we were to damage it, so that it's more than half dead, it's going to start running away and healing itself by unnatural means. So if it's outside of the aura and it has less than half health, it's going to run away from the thing that's attacking it, heal up until it's about half, and then it'll start fighting again. So if it was in some sort of skeleton duel, it'll run away, duck for cover, heal up, then start going back into the fray. So if you were to face this type of thing and you're you kind of need to kill it quickly. That's all I can say about that. And let's just return to whence you came. Obviously, as you saw, you can also get a Vengeful and all the other variants by dropping the tool when you have that type of demon will in it. This is the Vengeful variant, so obviously it's a lot faster. Its arrows are a lot, well, faster. And it's like, boom, you're dead. So it's a nice sentry to come with you. And obviously you can have multiple ones, so if you were to have some sort of situation like this, it's a lot easier for you. It's always a good idea to have fast tools to do your bidding. They also teleport around if they are following you and can't catch up with you. And friendly fire unfortunately is enabled, however they don't attack each other when friendly fire happens. So I was talking about AI, and obviously this is good and all, but the AI isn't currently anything special at this point. However, one thing to note is that they have special abilities depending on what type of will you use. So for instance, if we were to have a corrosive, let's have a corrosive grand, and then we go with some poison. Slowness. Let's go with slowness. Let's get a sentient sword that has corrosive on it. You can see, ooh, nice and scary. However, if we were to drink a potion of slowness while it's in our employ, it'll rush towards us to steal the effect from us. So this is basically the sword that when if you're in some sort of danger, i.e. if you have a negative potion effect, it'll go towards you to take that potion effect from you. Now obviously you're saying, wait, why the heck would I want to do that? Well, if this was not stupid and you hit a big zombie, you can see when the sword actually hits it, because it's slow, it'll apply the potion effect to the entity that it hits, basically transferring its potion effect to that entity. It's probably a lot easier to see that when we go with a skeleton variant. So if we were to get poison, because I think it still works. So if we were to get potion of poison, it'll run over, grab the effect. Then if I spawn a cow and hit it, you could see the particles at least, but that's not very helpful. Which thing can get poison? Spiders can't get poison, undead can't get poison. There's not a lot of things in Minecraft that can actually get poison. So why do they even add this dang effect? Spawn Blaze, I think he can get poison. Attack! So you can see it got poisoned because of the arrow that was fired from the corrosive specter. And it's still poisoned because when bow specter fires, wow, poison is not something that the specter likes. I can see that right now. It's just running away with its head cut off. Here, let me help heal you. Come on. Come on. Come into the soothing aura, my pretty. Anyways, So when bow specter fires an arrow, it applies 20% of the potion effects that it has, the bad potion effects mine, from it to the arrow. So if the arrow hits, that entity is going to get those bad potion effects. Ring ring goes the telephone apparently. Anyways, so yes, and if the sword specter were to attack instead, it'd take all of the effects off of it and add to the mob. So you could do some fun stuff like have a potion flask that has bad effects on it. So let's see, what negative effects? We don't have a nausea potion, which obviously makes sense. Weakness. And as you can see, it rushes at Mach 1 in order to take the bad effects from you. So corrosive is basically the king of bad effects. It's going to steal the negative effects away from you. And one thing that I didn't say, but should be obvious, if you have the other sentient tools, you can use them as well. You'd probably only want the axe in this regard, because the shovel and pickaxe, they don't really do much, since they're just tools and not real weapons. Oh god! Whew. Oh, the shovel. Apparently the shovel was trying to prove me wrong. Oh dear. And it's obviously the king of the annoying monsters with all these. Obviously I'm going to need to add some sort of AI that stops that. Why do I have my test worlds on flat worlds? Flat worlds, not best worlds. So, yes, I talked about corrosive. We'll talk about destructive as the last one. Destructive will is kind of interesting. Destructive is basically unleashing an unholy amount of energy. So it has so much energy that it make your head spin. Let's get our food. Now, so much so that it can actually harness other energies. So if you were to get some TNT, light it on fire, and if the specter gets hit with it, it'll absorb the TNT, basically absorb the explosion without causing any sort of damage, cancel the explosion, there'd still be the boom, but the specter gets a huge strength boost by having all this energy pent up inside of it. So if we were to get a zombie pigman, come on, can you attack it please? It just dies so quickly, it's unbelievable. Let's see. Attack, my pretty! I mean, attack! Oh, obviously the strength boost doesn't last that long, so you're going to have to be cognizant of that. So other things is that Steadfast eventually is going to be basically your way to prevent damage. It's going to try to heal things inside of an area. Obviously I'm going to have to work on the balance of that. And Vengeful is going to be kind of... well, it's going to seek and destroy mobs before they have a chance to blink. So if you want to be careful and not get detected by all those zombies around the corner, probably not a good idea to use Vengeful. But anyways, I digress. Those are basically the specters. I like how they turned out so far. I want to add a lot more AI stuff to them because it gives me more practice for more fun effects of AI, but that's probably something that you'll see in the very near future. So one thing I'd like to touch on right now is the mimic block. Mimic blocks currently don't have a recipe, however they will be craftable. What mimic blocks do is that they are basically, well, mimics of whatever you set them to. So if we were to get our shovel and dig a nice pit here, we can add a bunch of mimic blocks here and add some grass blocks. You can probably tell what's going to happen now. Oops. Let's not press shift when we do that. And you can barely tell a difference, but when you step through, you're gonna actually step through. And Wayla is completely fooled. You can't tell what's a mimic block unless you were to left click it and see it's breaking particles. Dirt, dirt, mimic. And it can only be broken easily by pickaxe, otherwise, yep, you got mimicked. So this is going to basically be a very easy way for people to have hidden doorways inside their bases. So one of the easiest examples would be to have some sort of nice wall that is right here, and then you can simply walk through the mimic blocks as if nothing's there, because you got something that's mimicking that something's there, but it's not actually there. The only way that you'd be able to tell that something's there is seeing the particles, and the particles I might change depending on if I'm able to. The breaking particles, obviously. But this adds a lot of interesting things and gives a lot of things that I can use and keep on my plate. Now, one other benefit of the mimic blocks is because of how they have to do. That is very good way. So you can put glass there. Obviously, if we were to completely enclose this up like this, you can see light doesn't actually pass through the mimic block even if it's a glass. That's because of science reasons and can't actually code it without it looking like crud. So yeah, that's basically a brief overview of the mimic block. Some things I'm planning is different versions of the mimic, so that some allow light, some don't allow light, some are pass-throughable, some you can't pass through at all, some would do damage, some would add other effects which I don't want to get into because it's going to be so fun seeing one person have a lot of fun with you guys. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode of Blood Magic Developer Commentaries. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. Ooh. Now, I can do this because I'm in creative, but you guys can't. If I were to do this... Hoo-hoo, it looks like a fake ritual. But the ritual, it does nothing. WayofTime here, signing off. Have a wonderful day. Run! Run away from the pretties!